Alright, homies, I am soaked, but I am passionate, and that is all that matters. It started raining the moment I left, so if you got some background audio, apologies for that, but I had to save the barbell. You guys know I cherish my Lego bar, and I don't want it to rust or anything while it's sitting in my car. Because, I dust it off and I clean it every day that I work out, but I still just want to be safe because I don't even want to stress test what kind of rust it can pick up after so much time, regardless of the warranty or anything. I want to treat it as good as I can, so I spent a lot more time than I probably needed to pulling my car to the gym and getting my ass soaked as shit, but I got the bar in the car fully dry, and that's all that matters. But anyway, really not low energy, because I don't want to come here and say that I'd had no energy and I didn't care, because it was a good day. I had some nice lifts, but it was I told my homie, it was kind of just a very mental monotone kind of day. I didn't have any overly hype sensations. I didn't have any existential worries. I wasn't all freaked out trying to hype myself up getting these new weights or whatever. I was just it's one of those days where there was no question about whether or not I could do the weights. It was more just me coming up, doing it, and just enjoying the moment, and that it feels odd because I normally have to get myself all amped up and get all crazy about it because, one, that's what gets me passionate about it even more, but two, especially on a day like today where front squats destroyed my upper back yesterday. It was so heavy that it just, that normally happens where it just destroys my upper back, and now today I had no back strength, but all the low back and the quads carried myself through the squats, which was great, but regardless, still had to really make up for it. And the whole way through, throwing the snatches over my head, did a nice slow tempo through the first pull to the knee, doing it's kind of called, I think it's called the yo-yo technique, but it's just you come up to the hips and back down to the knees and then do a full power snatch overhead. Felt really good. You'll see what I'm talking about, but everything felt exactly where it's supposed to be. There was no question of lockout. There was no question of technique, and it kind of happened without me having to think about it. It's so rare now that there's a day where I don't really have to think about the lift. I did 205, which is typically getting into heavy range for power snatch movements, and I just threw it and didn't really feel anything. And I was like, yeah. 225 wasn't much different. I was talking to my homie about it, and it feels weird to hit such a heavy weight for a really hard, or what's supposed to be really hard power snatch movement, and then I just destroy it, but I didn't need the mental for once, which it's not disappointing because I don't expect to feel at my best, and a lot of times it's mainly the physical that you have to worry about getting locked in and figured out. But today it was a lot more just allowing the mental to stay where it is and not having to worry about it. I can force a better physical by getting my mental shit together and really giving as much of an intensity as I can in that moment. But today is just the mental didn't need to be there, and physically I felt fine, so I just kind of strolled through the workout, which is really odd for a day where I'm doing 2 plates power snatch movement and 420 for 3 on back squat again. Everything felt great, and I think one of the bigger reasons for that was the past couple of days, I got my 5-day gap between my work shifts because they scheduled me so much that last week. And I mentioned it yesterday, but a lot of times when you get work off, you end up doing a whole lot of nothing. And it's good to do a bare minimum of just getting out, going for a walk or something just to get the blood pumping, get the serotonin moving, do something productive just to get the day going, and then do whatever you want if it's a day that you truly deserve or want to be a day off where you don't have to worry about doing anything productive-wise. Or, again, even if you're playing video games like I've been doing, just having a good time by yourself, that can still be productive if it's something that gives you that satisfaction on the day that you deserve to have off, Because as long as all your other shit's in order, then do whatever you want with your free time, right? And I typically have trouble coming in with so low energy like I did yesterday and today, because I've been doing such low energy activities during my personal life while I've had a break off of work, that I haven't needed that excess energy to get through the day. I do 12-hour night shifts, and when I'm bouncing back and forth between shifts every single day, trying to come to the gym as much as I can on minimal 5 hours, 6 hours of sleep, I'm kind of always at 10. You know, I'm always trying to push at 100%, get my mental as hyped as possible because I have to. You know, I need that extra drive to push through those days. But it's not often that I have a week like this week where I just get to do the workouts and have nothing else in my day, kind of like I used to back when I had no job and didn't have to worry about going to school. I just woke up, ate, slept, video games, go to the gym, go back to sleep, you know? And it's nice, but it also gets me more excited to get back to work, you know? And that's kind of the whole point. Because it's not so much that I regret. I never regret. I don't feel bad about taking all this time off or being quote unquote lazier during the days that I feel that I deserve to take off. It's more so kind of relishing in those days of solitude, you know? They don't come often. And every time, I see this so much. Every time, especially with people who work a lot or do hard shifts like I've been doing, you work so much and you're in the gym and you got so much shit going on in your life all the time that the moment you get any time off, your brain is so restless typically every single day and always trying to push at 10 that the moment you get time off, you either feel shit doing nothing or you feel obligated to do something that you don't want to do in the first place, you know? And I think it's really, really important to make sure that you give yourself that positive solitude, you know, that time alone that you can actually really enjoy just to hang out with yourself and remind yourself of, you know, what you're appreciative for in your own personal daily life. It doesn't have to be constantly supplemented through other people's passions and other people's social lives or your outgoing passions or hobbies outside of your house. It's just it's nice to be able to be passionate while you're by yourself as well. Because I say it all the time. I can't ever tell you guys if I know what I'd do if there were, you know, the theoretical, if all the people in the world disappeared tomorrow and I just had to live my life by myself, do my thing, would I still Olympic lift? Would I still do the things that I do? And I'm going to sit here and tell you, of course I would, but nobody knows what they do when they have that kind of solitude facing them, you know? But it makes me happy when I can spend these days and appreciate it rather than beat myself up for it. Because you shouldn't, especially when you work, like I work full-time. I was full-time in school because I just graduated, so thankfully school's not on my roster anymore. And I'm at the gym every day, most days. And it's been so nice just being able to wake up for once with nothing to do, you know? And of course, I want something to do. This is the biggest thing. Is because when these days come, these rare days where you have so little to do that it feels like you have to do something, when you try to force yourself to do all this extra bullshit and worry about things that you don't need to worry about or get overproductive on days that you already didn't want to be productive in, when the work days come back and you have to get back to that grind, back to that hard-ass schedule, always at 10, trying to push yourself to 100% because you have to, you feel twice as shitty because now you're looking back saying, oh, well, I probably should have rested when I had the time to do so. And it's not me saying that you should be lazy on days you have off. If you feel the need and feel the desire, the actual passion to get up and do something productive, go do it. You know, the gym is part of my everyday life. That's what gets me going. That's my personal happy place. So I don't feel like I'm doing work when I go to the gym. You know, it's what gets me pumped the fuck up to go. And it's been so good to just be able to sit there, walk into a show, not worry about having to call somebody. Because I tell you guys all the time, if you feel down like that, if you're staring at the wall too much, if you're staring at your phone too much, call somebody. Rely on people when you need it. But it's also good to make sure you take the days that you can take when you have them to just relish in that moment of your own thoughts. Because this is something that I especially learned while helping treat my patients in the psych unit, and this happens with a lot of people who go to prison or jail, where you have that initial period where you have no choice but to spend time in your own thoughts, in whatever room, you know, especially the kids we have at our unit. There's so many times where I have to sit down and have a little talk with them where I tell them this is going to be one of the rare, only times in their life where they have nothing to worry about. You know, there's no responsibility. You got nobody on your back. There's no one looking down on you while you're here. You just got support from the staff. You got food. You got housing. You got whatever you need to survive while you're here. All you have to think about is how you want to continue your life after today. You know, what can you do in this moment to treat yourself better? And will overly worrying about it in this moment make you worse? Or are you going to sit there and try to do something different right now to make you better when you get to leave and get back to those responsibilities? Because, it's obviously never the same as just getting a day off of work. But when people come to our unit and they have to stay with us, a lot of people are court-ordered. It's really interesting to see how much people can change within the matter of 24 hours. Because I do 12-hour shifts, so especially when I work several shifts in a row, I'll come in for my night shift, and I'll see a patient come in at their worst, and on the next shift when I come back the very next night, they're already a completely different person. Because just that 1 day period of finally having a day where they can just decompress, express themselves, relax, have no one looking over their shoulder, have no obligations, and just be in their own thoughts for once. They can just think about what they want to do to make themselves happy and how much it'll be worth it to them to take that time to themselves in that moment. And I work a lot. I don't say that as a means to brag. I don't like working as much as I do, but I always say that, and then every time I have so many days off, it's that balance in life that makes you want to come back. So I guess my whole point is, when the days that you have off come and you actually want to chill out and do nothing, but you feel like obligating yourself to do something, just take a minute to just really remind yourself of what you think will be worth it by the time you have to go back to work. Are you going to feel balanced doing more productive stuff on your days off and then going back to work again? Or do you need some time off, and do you need that time to just really do nothing, decompress, not worry about shit, eat out a little bit more than you normally do, and then get back to work? Because my job is only something I complain about until I'm stripped away from it on the days off that I have to take off. It's the same way with the gym. I force myself to take days for rest, even if I don't want to. Especially right now, I'm taking 2 rest days at a time. That's not what I want to be doing. And when I go to day shift, hopefully soon, I'll get to switch off of that. But I have to force myself away from those daily productive, passionate goals, hobbies, whatever, because that time off is going to be the time that it gives me to mentally, physically recover, so that when I come back, I can come back at 100% and actually give a shit every single time. You cannot give it the absolute 100% best that you want to every single day. You got to take time for yourself. You got to take time to enjoy another part of life before you come back to the same old, because I'm truly, truly grateful to be able to say that I love my job, but not because it's a great job, not because it's the dream job, not because it's the job I've always searched for, but because it's a job that I've turned into my own. It's become a part of my daily life. It's become a part of something that I pushed my own passions into. I wasn't originally passionate about this job because I didn't have my own goals to be supporting it. Now I have my own way of going about it. I have my own stride. I have my own way of doing it. Nobody does the same job the same way. We're not robots. Everybody's got a different way of trying to go through it all. So it's nice to have my own footing, especially in the gym, and be able to just come in, have, even if it's a monotone mental feeling, just be able to just lock it in, have fun with the weights, no stress, just doing it. Just like I'm sitting at my desk, relaxing, no thoughts in the brain. I can come in, lift the weights, no thoughts in the brain, just the same way. Of course, it's not the same, but it feels a lot less hyped up than it normally is. And it's nice to have a chill workout like this, no matter how heavy the weight is. Everybody sees these heavy weights and assumes that I'm hyped to shit every single time I do it, and I put a banger song on the background on the shorts I do. But sometimes I'm just in there and I'm just like, I'm just going to put up 4 plates. It's fine. But anyway, physically, again, upper back absolutely shredded from front squats yesterday, but locked it in really good, and just like yesterday, it got better every single set. Every set that I locked it in, because of the limitations of my upper back, I was able to lock in the other parts of my bodies, and my quads, and my low back, and my hips a lot better, And I wasn't as strong as I typically am, but I definitely maintained the form better than I typically do, and that was the biggest thing that I really wanted to work on, having better consistency throughout every single warm-up set, no matter how tired I am. So I'll definitely give it a very solid 8.85. Sounds pretty good. It wasn't insane. It wasn't like a crazy day. But regardless of my mental, I know that I had to be very physically well off to be able to put up as heavy a weights that I did today, regardless of not being as hyped up as I normally am, which is a great thing. It means the peak is coming, and I'm very excited. Next week's going to be my next peak week, And it's going to be nice to see how well everything's progressed, regardless of these tiresome days, putting in all the volume, all the conditioning. The conditioning always builds up in such a great way to where you finally get to that 1 week of all singles. And you can just go hard as you want, balls to the walls, no worry about anything. Mentally, I feel great. And I'm super happy being able to take some time to myself and just enjoy some grinding on my, in a more, some would say, it doesn't give material gain, It's not statistically boosting my life, but it's something that gives me that bit of gratitude, in days where I just want to sit in a room by myself and not worry about interacting with a bunch of other people or going and force myself to do a bunch of stuff just to get motivated. Because I can have that motivation without needing to be hyped the fuck up by other people and other experiences. You know what I'm saying? So I'll give it, it's so weird because it's so rare that I feel this comfortable, this satisfied, but the hype is completely monotone, shit, I'll give it an 8.7, just below the physical, because physical definitely was locked into just a bit more, but it's weird because the mental was not really lagging at all. I just wasn't as focused on the hype as I normally am. I was just living in the moment and just relaxing for once, even though lifting is typically something that stresses the brain and gets everything moving in a super high productive serotonin boosted way that's supposed to hype you up. It's one of those rare workouts where I just kind of felt relaxed the whole time, no matter how heavy it got. So I don't know, a little bit of a different experience, but I appreciate y'all hearing me yap, because gotta get it out somehow. Let me know how the lifts and lifts have been going. Love hearing about it. And I'll be back tomorrow for my clean and jerk accessory with some heavy bench press. And I'm going to try doing close grip for the first time in a long time. See if it gets my elbows locked in a better position. I think it will. So wish me luck, and I'll be back tomorrow. I love you guys. See you later. Bye.